Keep Fear Games.
Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to K4 Games Streaming. We're going to be opening some packs today of War of the Spark. My name is Curtis, and on my right is Cabby.
What's up, guys? Ready to open some sweet Planeswalkers.
Very cool. Alright, let's get going.
Figured it out. Best way to open packs. It'll just get you really tired.
Oh, really?
Guess which way we're going to keep them upside.
Alright, is your Red Bird my rare?
Mine's Legacy playable.
So is mine. I don't know what that means, but...
Let's see. Okay, so this is how you open them. The easiest way.
Bit.
Take it and you get it.
Oh man. Feels like it
But it's going to make your arm real tired after a while.
It feels like it might hurt the card. But...
there's more of them.
There's more of them.
Okay. Oh, tie. What we got? So, what's our count? Who opens the most? I'll say I'm not separating these planeswalkers, and I probably should be doing that. Huh?
Yeah, you want to definitely be doing that.
I didn't do that a single time earlier.
Well, you made somebody else's job harder.
Nah, then they wanted me to race. It takes time. Basically, I was filling up a tray for two separate people to start sorting. And then they added a third so they could keep up.
Gotcha.
Ugin. So what's your thoughts on Ugin?
I like Ugin. Ugin's tight. I haven't played with him much really, but it's pretty tight. Tight and Tron and
Sweet. Now that I keep going back to that chick because I wasn't all about her at first, but I always keep reading that you get a free spell.
Oh yeah.
Which is pretty huge.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So it's just all about as much card advantage as you can get out of it.
Every time I let my opponent attack with a captain, I'd like cross my fingers until they
It's like, am I dead? Am I dead?
Draw a creature. It's really bad for me if you draw a creature, but draw a creature.
I think I just keep thinking it's more gimmicky along the facts of it makes stuff 2 mana cheaper, so you have to like be all into it, and then I'm like, that part doesn't even really matter. It's more like you're just getting the extra card.
Here's a 2 mana Vraska's Contempt, and now I kill your other guy.
And yeah, you're behind.
Just open full of gods today.
Would you? Oh man, the cat. I don't know, man. Mine flies.
Mine makes guys.
Okay, it's a race. It's a
It's
race.
4/4s.
You gotta draw creatures. I just gotta draw spells.
Yeah, they're both very conditional.
Fine. What about this? I didn't open a foil Bantu. Could open a regular one. Where is the good stuff? I've yet to open.
Oh man.
I still don't think that card's good. After
Hey,
this talk we
man.
had earlier.
It might be good, you know.
It's just like, I feel like it's just a weaker removal spell than kind of what we already have. I've been playing against a bunch of them online. It's been killing about the same things that Cast Down would kill.
So with like the upside of like it also exiles. It
Yeah.
doesn't have the conditional thing on it. Like you can kill a Kefnet with it if you need to, whereas
Then they
Cast
just
Down
put
can't.
it 3 down.
Yeah, it's fine though. But you can kill the Kefnet. Hey, I've been killing Kefnets all day, man.
So what's about this card? Is this card breakable? How do we break it?
This is card breakable.
There's got to be a way to break it.
Yeah, I mean
Like it's
if you get to like eternal formats, it gets more busted as you go.
where there is the Golgari deck that's playing it now with Wildgrowth Walker, Path of Discovery, and any creature. So every time you play a creature, you explore, which gains 3 life. So you just start ripping through your deck. And that has been seeing some play online. I'm not sure exactly how good it is, but it seems like it could be at least somewhat fun.
Yeah, I agree. Like the card is very fun, very cool, very powerful.
Like I wouldn't be surprised if it gets broken in Modern. Like you just cast it on a turn and instantly draw your entire deck.
And they're already breaking Neoform, so.
Yeah, I mean, what are we just playing Legacy and Modern now? Turn 1 Grizzlebrands? At least there you had to let your opponent put something into play too.
Not all the time.
Oh, I mean, they at least put a land in. They didn't say it was something good. They always have something.
You can turn weapon into a Grizzlebrand with Reanimator.
Well, then it's a battle.
I mean, it's the same thing, right?
I'd just rather put an Emrakul in and not worry about it. But then they just put Karakas in and it gets awkward. Oh, how much is that?
This is... I think depending on where you look, it's going to be anywhere between like $5 to $12.
So what do we think about these finales?
Finales are tight. The black one's probably the worst one, I think.
But it kills everything.
Yeah, but the white one makes a billion 2/2s and makes 4/4 sometimes.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like...
Well, I should know, the blue one might be the worst one. But it has like the most broken upside.
Right, but like, who ever said that drawing cards was bad?
That's fair. The sorcery speed though is the only thing. But I guess if you have to fairy in the mix.
You know what else
that
is
could-
sorcery speed? Brain Geyser. It's all play.
Yeah, but that killed people.
So,
That was in different context. We had it was like Dark Ritual and boxing.
Nah, fair. Fair cards.
Oh man. So, what about these uncommon planeswalkers?
Some of them are super good. I'm a real big fan of Ashiok and Narset.
Yeah.
They just do... Actually, I'm a really huge fan of the fact that they made the static abilities, because I think that is a whole new mechanic and way to work with this that was not ever discovered for Planeswalkers.
Right.
And I think it makes them... I don't know if we'll get it a lot more often, because it might be just like this kind of set, since they're not getting ultimates and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But the passive abilities let them, when they aren't able to do anything else, still be relevant,
Right.
which is huge. And some of these passive abilities are super powerful. I've already heard talks of Shahili being in like Monarch and Legacy in addition to Young Pyromancer to just keep like the pressure going.
Yeah.
And it makes her harder to interact with because she's not a creature, so she just stays on the board. Not a lot of them will see a ton of play, but some of them will honestly probably be surprise factors that people didn't expect to be as good as they were. This chick's also super annoying. Like the fact that when she's on the board, all your remove spells now cost 2 more just to deal with her, in
yeah.
addition to other things. Like when your Wrath's Contempt costs 6, it's real awkward.
It's like some of the common planeswalkers are like there has to be times where like you don't minus rate.
Yeah, it
Sec-
depends on the board position and what you're doing, and if it's relevant at that part of the game.
That's fair. But it's like in a case for like Narset, are you always minusing your? It's like
I
she's
feel like you
always
kind of want to get your value before it dies, from being either attacked or removal. You kind of
Right.
want to get those cards. The interesting one is Tamio, who is seeing a ton of play.
Yeah.
Her plus is it her plus? Yeah, her plus is the super awkward one where like you have to be right. And I played against a bunch of people that have not named right, and it's entertaining when they're like naming Nexus or Negate or Wilderness Reclamation, and they mill 4. You're just like, yes, nothing for you. Especially when it's a card you don't want to see. You know they need it to like get back into the game. So the question now is, what's the new format going to look like?
It's like Blue-Green Nexus just got like another card.
Yeah, I looked at that list you sent me. It's really weird. Is it really the only way it could win is off of making one big army token and then attack you? That's all I could see it winning with.
I mean, yeah, potentially.
I mean, that's the only thing that could attack.
Yeah.
No
I mean,
one-
between like the big army token plus
Your opponent getting bored.
like you're probably gonna concede anytime you're taking these infinite turns or whatever, and also just like Tamiyo regrowing a commence of the end game constantly.
So what happens if they just take the commence the end game? Like
Like, what do you mean?
unmourned ego it or somehow get it exiled.
If they do that in game one, then I guess you did it.
Got it. That's what we gotta focus on.
Main board on board ego.
Yep. There's always a target, right?
The thing that like I thought was kind of cool today that I thought of was Narset's reversal Nexus of Fate.
You take another turn and then you get it back.
No, their Nexus of Fate.
Okay, so you take the next turn and then they don't get the next turn.
Right.
Interesting concept.
I like it. Oh, it was a little much though.
Right, it comes down to your deck has to be aggressive or be able to take advantage of that extra turn, or it's not really that much. Because sometimes those extra turns aren't that powerful. So with the Open this weekend, what do you think is going to be one of the most popular decks?
I think it's tough to say. If you go on Moto, it's just nothing but blue, black X, everything, control, mid range, whatever.
Same on Arena, it's just Grixis everywhere.
Um,
Reasonably so.
I think you'll still just get those people who are just like, I like playing mono white, so I'm gonna keep playing that.
I mean, it is also the first weekend, so people will be trying things. They will not end up all doing well, but people like to be innovative. They like to try new things. They get kind of bored of the stagnant that it's been.
Yeah.
And now it's just finding what new things stick and actually continue to do well.
What up, Gideon?
Gideon seems very powerful, and he's been pretty annoying every time I've actually played against him.
Yeah, the best game plan I have against Gideon, as far as like for when I'm playing, is block it with a human token and just keep trying to build my board state.
The awkward part I've had is eventually he just like exiles something, and you're like, that's bad.
Yeah, that's like
Like-
the point of like the human token.
Right.
This is like, all right, well, this bought me some time, so let me try and kill him, I guess.
Well, like, he just keeps going up, and eventually is just like, well, this is in the way. Let's get rid of you and attack.
Like most game ones against Gideon are gonna be kind of tough, but
Now, here's this. What about this card?
this card is sick. I like this card a lot.
Yeah, I've been trying to force it in, like, every deck that has those colors in it, because it reminds me of just, like, a mini Cruel Ultimatum.
Right,
And it's, like, everything you want, except the mill for, which is irrelevant.
right.
Majority of the time. Well, unless I did see some people that were using it as more of a mill myself for cards that are like to turn their Sorens and stuff on, which I was like, that's interesting. I didn't really think about that at that moment.
I think every time that I cast it, I build myself with it. Yeah, it gives you card selection. Like, gives your opponents. Like, you mill your opponents, it's like kind of not good.
It depends. It is really sweet when you see 3 cards you didn't want to see go to the bin, and you're just like, yeah, those are gone at least. I mean, it's irrelevant because it's not really like you're getting any card advantage off that specific part, but still
Yeah.
feels good.
Like, I may target the mono white player. I think I may do that.
Like, what are you getting at it targeting you, though?
Mostly just like more card selection. You get to mitigate flooding.
But it's all random unless you know what the top of your deck is.
I mean, still,
Like, I know. That's really weird.
and it's like always like Thought Scour Modern. You always Thought Scour yourself.
Yeah. The difference between that is the decks playing Thought Scour Modern, though, have these cards that have delves. They have ways to use that, or Snapcaster, or something to use those cards.
I mean, sure.
We're not really, like, that's where with the Sorin it kind of makes sense, because you're at least going towards a plan. If you have nothing to use either way, I guess it honestly doesn't matter either way,
Yeah.
which way you go if there's no plan for it.
It's like you just put a 4/4 into play. Their guy's dead. They gotta enter the 4/4. You don't want to like. You want to keep pressure on. So if me milling myself means I get to draw less lands, then I'm all about that.
Right, but what if the game comes down to mill? And you charge yourself.
The
and
game
not
goes down the
lose?
mill, then I think I'll know sooner or later when not to mill myself.
What if it was just that one? That one was enough.
The one was enough that they untap and kill me with mill, then I guess I was
No,
destined
no,
to
no.
lose that game.
Just not immediately. Just that slow grind. That you realize you're 3 cards lower now. And it's gonna happen.
I don't know. Just seems unlikely.
Dude, I had a 43-minute game one a couple weeks ago. I know how it can happen. And I did lose to milling that game. I drew too many cards off my Hydroid Krasis.
Got too greedy.
Well, I ended the game with 2 Hostage Takers with a Krasis under each of them. And no cards in my deck. That feels really bad when you easily could win the game.
Got too greedy,
If you
man.
could just cast them.
Should have been playing big races. Should have been playing medium races.
Nah. Kill you. Go big or go home.
Well, you went home, so.
Yeah, I did go home. Where's the good stuff? First, like, where's this card? I've seen talk about that card.
I saw this card and I was like, this card is probably fine.
It's one of those cards you look at and it seems very nonchalant at first, and then you keep thinking about it and you're just like, it's a 2/5.
It's a card. It's a card you keep looking at. You're like,
Right.
this card's good, right? But it's like, where does it go? Like, what does it fit in? What role is it serving? What are you cutting for it?
It blocks really well. It's removal kind of later in the game.
But it's like, I don't know.
This is the card everybody's been talking about.
It's got a super restricted mana cost. I think it serves a role at some point, but maybe not in this format. Maybe in like the next format. You know?
Right, depends on the format. But Blast Zone, though, has been doing nothing but surprising people about how great and power level it is.
I mean, when you get to do dumb wilderness reclamation things with it.
So I'm just going to tell you this story that happened to me.
Yeah.
I'm on the draw. I play turn 3 Thief.
Okay.
Good start.
Yeah.
I attack him, take a card. He has he played Wilderness Reclamation and passed, so I attacked him, took a card. Played another Thief and passed, and he untaps, plays Blast Zone, goes the end of turn, adds 2 counters, untaps, kills both Thieves immediately, and I'm just like, this made a turn real quick, and I'm pretty sure I lost that game. Where I thought that it was almost impossible to lose that game at that point. Blast Zone is also a card that I'm excited about from Modern.
Oh yeah, Modern's gonna be tight.
I'm ready to get some Ugins and some Blast Zone and E-Tron. And just start killing people.
What's your plan against Karn? New Karn.
What is he? I mean, what does he do in Modern?
Right.
Like
Open.
searching for a card.
Mm-hmm.
What is? But like, is it? What's he plussing to make big? Like, what's the?
You're not really
plan?
busting anything. You're just getting locked out by Michael Gladys.
I mean, I have my own cards.
That you can't activate. Because they're artifacts.
We got to have a way to deal with this. I mean, they got to get both those. That's like so much mana.
I mean, it's like they go Karn minus, and then I guess in your case they would go Asteri Bridge.
I can
Bridge
still
go.
attack, right? Does that doesn't turn off me attacking, right?
Does it if you attacking? But if
Okay,
they have an Asteri
so-
Bridge, it probably gets really hard for you.
I mean, we're just gonna thought not seer this and not worry about it.
Same. A lot of things are stuck past thought nuts here.
No.
No.
You just gotta believe. I'm just ready for the turn 3 Ugin and the Matter Shape returns. Those are gonna be my new favorites.
Yeah, that's gonna be tight.
When it was originally Thought Knot into Matter Shaper, which I'll still be happy about. But Ugin make a dude into play Matter Shaper.
For sure.
So much power.
twisters.
Yeah, we don't want none of those.
You think how good's this card?
Exactly, the back of a
Ooh,
magic
that's
card.
the back of a magic
Yeah, I
card.
know, it's like-
the best card ever, just because you don't know.
It
what
could
is.
be anything.
It could be anything. Time wipe is tight. I like time wipe a lot. I got one on my board right now, and
Just
the
one.
only time I ever drawn it was when I was dumb ahead against Sultai, I was like, all right, well,
I've
I
had
guess
some
I have
games
this
where it's
to-
like bounce Basilica Bilheim, like, boom.
Like, I think I had a turn sequence of, like, I was dumb ahead up against a Hydro Crisis. I was like, alright, I'll Hotstagger a Hydro Crisis, time wipe the board, and have a Hotstagger in my hand, and you don't have anything. So, good luck.
I'm playing it's a lot more Ritualist suits too, which
That
is
makes
super
sense.
annoying because it also kills like 10/10 Crisis.
Yeah, dude.
And you're like, that's dumb.
I'm not sure if there's a card for, like, Cute Cam this time around. There's no Cuttlefish tokens in the set, so.
I mean, we
It's
got
pretty
good
lame.
arts. There are some sweet arts in this set.
Let's take a look. Let's see what we got. Oh, we got this. Yeah.
This is like, what you got?
Q Cam.
Oh.
Servo token. Look at
One-eyed.
that guy. Bam.
Mike Wazowski, servo token.
I think this is supposed to be a reference for Fibblethip in the art. 'Cause it's like a one-eyed servo, just kind of like
No, it's Mike Wazowski.
just hanging out, trying to get by.
Just doing his thing. So I'm still going to take this statement that I made to heart.
Okay.
Still, I'm going to say that long term in the standard, this will potentially see more play than 3-drop to fairy. It needs to find a home, but I think in the decks that it plays in, it is going to be more powerful as a whole than 3 minutes of fairy, with the curve possibilities.
Potentially. I like it as like high loyalty costs, or as high loyalty count, I should say.
Right, the fact that you get to use it twice and it's still there, giving your dudes vigilance is super important in those matchups. Making sure you get 2 counters. If you ever get to play it with other planeswalkers, it will additionally beef them. It's really hard to win a creature war when your opponent's dudes are all bigger and have vigilance. Green-white hasn't been the most powerful. It has some green-white token decks that have been okay, but they haven't been like a staple in a long
I think
while.
there's going to be a sweet green-white mid-range deck here in this format. Probably this weekend.
What are we talking about?
I think it's just a green-white mid-range deck where you have like the kind of like the 2-drop token guys, where you have like Adana Vanguard and stuff like that.
Sapling
And then-
migration.
But then instead of like Sapling Migration and maybe even like March of Multitudes, you like curve into like Planeswalkers and Venerable Loxodon and Tulsamir, Vivian, stuff like that.
I do like Tulsamir. He comes down, gains you a little bit of life, eats something, and continues. Like
Yeah.
now, the question is there any other good wolves that are just good that make him better?
Tough to say. I don't think there is.
Right, nothing that.
But mostly, it's just thinking it was like Thragtusk. It's just like super
Yeah.
impactful into play, good against aggro.
Not
kinda
really
awkward against control.
Thragtusk, more Hunt Master.
Sure. Yeah. yeah.
Because
I can see
like, if you Wrath, you got to keep a dude. I played my fair share of some Hunt Masters. Oh, I'm getting like just all the same rares. Oh, I got your Q cam right here.
What we got?
It's an uncommon, right? No. I'm not putting it here. Oh, it's wrong stack. It's an uncommon. There you go. There's your cute game.
Mowu, but this isn't the cute Mowu. This is buff Mowu.
This is don't mess with me mode. I didn't really pre-release much, but every time I saw that card in play, it looked very unfair.
This card is very good.
Right, it's like, oh, now it's a 5/5.
You can't. Just can't kill this guy.
Ooh, we got the shiny.
It's pretty tight.
Okay, is this card breakable? feel like it's got some talk. I had it in a draft deck online. It was definitely like proliferating 4 or 5 things every time I played a Planeswalker, which was like pretty dumb.
So like in standard, I don't know.
Right.
And like when you like both Citadel, when you get like into more eternal formats, yeah, that card is very good.
But what do you proliferate? Like, what is the end goal?
Well, let's see. In the case of like you can have something like some weird artifact show and do like walking ballista type things. You could do some weird I win the game things like Civic Ascendancy or Helix Pinnacle. That's
How
up
are
your
we
alley.
making it so we just don't stop having cards to play?
You can just play like a Storm Shell.
Okay.
Like a bunch of cantrips, a bunch of rituals. You have like cost reducers and stuff like
Okay,
that.
here's your cute guy.
Man, people think it's not cute.
You have your opinion.
Like I get it, but come on, that guy. This is a homunculus. Look at him.
But he's the favorite homunculus.
I ain't sure if there was a no. The ones from Alara are much cuter than Fibblethip.
The changelings?
No,
I'm
the
thinking-
homunculus. The little like they're like
I don't think
like
Laura
the
one.
really short ones. You gotta look at them. They're like these little tiny artifact guys.
Guess it's just been a while.
Or the O ones or whatever.
What makes them? That'll help my memory.
It is. I can't remember if like more than one card just makes it, but it's the it's a black card that taps to make a homunculus, like an O1 homunculus, and at the end of your turn you have to sacrifice that homunculus. Like, it wasn't a very good card.
Oh, I think what you're talking about from Malara, I think you just had to sack a dude to make one.
Maybe.
And it made a 2/2. But it was
Maybe.
a blue creature. Like but it was an Esper card.
Yeah. But yeah, those are the best homunculus.
Oh, man. Is curse playable? Yeah, thinking about that one.
Price of Betrayal. I think so. So this card is super interesting in the sense that it just like does a thing that like nothing else does.
Okay.
I think the closest thing to its effect was like Hex Parasite,
Ooh, I remember Hex Parasite.
Aether Snap, stuff like that. Vampire Hex Mage.
Does it say from a creature, or does it say
Uh,
or planeswalker?
Artifact creature, planeswalker, or opponent.
Okay, so it's pretty wide. It's not as specific.
Right.
So what are some of the things we can take off of people? You can remove poison counters off your opponent. Wait, does it say opponent?
Yeah. Or yeah, opponent.
Boo.
Yeah.
So you can't just like, I'll take 5 counters off of myself. I'm not poisoned anymore.
Yay.
No. Boo. You can
Gotta-
take some of their experience counters away.
Ooh, that is a yeah,
hmm
very tight.
Get rid of those. We still need some way to deal with opponents' emblems that isn't just restarting the game. But I feel like they don't want to do that because
Nah.
it took you too much to get there. Other than like Sorin, which is just like cast him and immediately make an emblem.
Like emblems are inherently supposed to be like game-ending thing. It's like the most powerful thing that Planeswalker can do, and
Right.
Planeswalkers are just inherently powerful. So
I mean, that's
Yeah.
like when they said anything that goes to exile, we want to kind of like stay in exile. And then they make the gods and they're like, oh, if they go to exile, just put them back in your deck. It's fine.
yeah, but they're gods.
Yeah, but the old gods you could actually deal with by exiling them. Now they're just like, nah, we're coming back. And I guess that's what happens when you get zombie gods.
I think it was mostly they just like were like indestructible. They just like thought of gods as like this base level thing, and then they were like, okay, yeah, gods are like super powerful things. They're indestructible, and they're not creatures all the time. That makes sense. And then people started exiling them. They're like, well, that doesn't make sense.
No.
That doesn't make sense flavor-wise.
Not according to plan. Not according to plan. If that was what the plan was going to be, they should have just made less ways to actually exile them.
I think it was also just like it's super hard to exile things in that standard format, right?
It was all about 4 Raskus contempts. It's like, but those contempts were so strained in that format that you just used them, and then you ran out and you died to a Hazoret. Speaking from experience here. In the finals of a PBTQ.
Hey, I brought the beats.
You and your band cards.
Rightfully so.
Now here we go. Here's the talk of the town. I don't know if you've hit one of those yet.
No, I've been doing with a bunch of gods.
Now, the question comes down to how insane is he going to be this weekend?
I think I'm gonna play against him more than once, and if it ever resolves, I'm probably not in a good spot. But
I've been playing a fair bit of it online, and he uses really good. It has been somewhat annoying because I always forget that the +1 is they can also exile a permanent. And when it's late in the game and they have like 1 or 2 cards in hand and you play it and you're like, yeah, and then they exile a land, you're like, no, it's not what we wanted. But the turns that you get to draw the card and they exile a card in their hand are so powerful.
yeah,
His passive, I'll be honest, I don't think I've used once because they just haven't been as good as what he has.
it's like I think it really depends on like the context of the game and stuff
Right.
like that. Because like if you have like say they have a Teferi and you have creatures in play for whatever reason, like it's a desperate Teferi, and they drew a card that didn't answer anything.
Right.
And it's like, all right, now I'll Nicol, I'll plus the draw card and do the Teferi ability, and I'll attack the Teferi down.
Right, but at that point you could just plus, like, minus and kill their Teferi and keep going.
But at the same time, it's like, I have like cards in my hand, I'm trying to keep up. Like it's like
I mean, that's
control here.
reasonable.
So,
I just think every time I've had this situation, I killed the Teferi.
no, I think that's 100% correct. And
'Cause-
you will do that more times than you will ever.
I just don't want the chance
Do
of
the ability.
they untap and then kill my guy, and then they still have the Teferi, and then it's just, well, that got awkward really quick.
I could think of. Ooh, I know a situation where you would use the static instead of minusing is a Hawali, the green white Hawali.
Just gain life.
No, the one from Rivals.
It gets up counters equal to the number of creatures you have in play.
Yeah. Like, all right, plus this. All right, I'm gonna ult this next turn.
I can't wait to just watch a game on stream this weekend where the dude just like blowing his opponent out with like 4 planeswalkers in play, and they just untap and elder spell them. Like, I just really want that to happen at some point. It's just like, boom, and this Nicol Bolas gets 10 counters.
Right.
Like, that card will be in some people's boards this weekend, and it probably will be at best a 2 for 1, which is still really good.
It's still really good. That's why I like. I'm trying to think of like how good Elder Spell is against my deck as per mid range. I don't think it's very good, but I think
No,
he's still board.
I wouldn't main deck it.
But even like post board, it's like for good against me.
I think you only, like, right, that's my thing. The decks that are playing Planeswalkers are playing less than 5 combined. So, like, the odds of you getting 2 aren't enough if that card could additionally hit creatures. Like, if it was kill a creature or a Planeswalker, or kill target creature, or up to any number of Planeswalkers, like,
Yeah.
it becomes significantly more relevant. You can't just have it be the same, because then it just becomes Wrath of God, and that's too good.
Right.
But the fact that it can kill a Planeswalker or a creature, but if you're killing a Planeswalker, you can kill multiple Planeswalkers. It is really good.
Right.
I've also been debating if, like, I don't have enough time to do this, so I would really be trying, if I can build a good Gates deck again.
It's pretty tight.
It's so much fun, because all your cards are significantly more powerful than, like, everybody else's. And I do think Liliana is a great addition to that deck, because it's kind of what you want, which is at that point in the game, you want to just kill 2 things when you cast it. And if you get to just curve into like that with a guild summon out, like, that deck rarely isn't ahead on card advantage. It really comes down to you're just sometimes too slow.
Right.
And if you can get around that, you'll be fine. Which I think I'd be playing like a lot of Assassin's trophies as just catch-alls. I'd probably build the deck as a base Sultai with a little heavier red, so you can cast your Gates Ablaze on time. I don't know if I'd play the Goats or the Rams. They just, I don't know if I have the slots, but I would probably still play the Colossus just because it's what's going to win you the game a lot.
Right.
It's free. I don't know if I'd play Expansion Explosion anymore. The format just has too many options. Like, I would try to fit in Nicol Bolas, but I think it might be slightly too greedy. Yeah, I say that, but once circuitous routes and you're there. Like, just one. And I would still have white probably just in the board for the Angels. They're just too good not to play in the matchups that are good.
Potentially.
It's hard to lose against red deck when you just like gain 10 life. They use like all their cards to win the game the majority of the time. And if you just gain like 10 life, they usually can't catch back up. Plus a 3/4 body is actually just really good against them.
Oh yeah, for sure. This guy.
Like, I like him a lot. He's in the intro deck, which makes it slightly awkward.
Wait, so it's not a shocker.
There's, you right. Forgot about that one. How about this guy? But let's just say the last time I cast that guy in my draft deck, it was 18 power. Like, they died very quickly. Oh man. Well, like I still think that card's interesting. My biggest problem with that card, I think, is that your plus is going to be rather weak the majority of the time. You will have some blowouts. You will have sometimes you get to Thought Erasure during their draw step. Sometimes you get to just like Kaya's Wrath on their attack step. But those times are going to be far and few in between. That I don't think it's that insane. Plus his passive is really good in certain matchups and completely irrelevant in others. Like there's times where they're just casting creatures and they could care less.
I feel you. Yeah, I'm kind of lackluster for Teferi. I think there is a way you can build the deck though, where it's just like, where it's like an Esper Super Frenzy type thing.
Right. Like if he just bounces the card that you bounce, so they just get to recast the next turn. So you're not getting like a ton of advantage. If it was at least like other Teferi that it replaced a draw. Like if it just put it on top, so like they're kind of getting time walked on it. The fact that it just bounces them, you're not really gaining. I mean, you're drawing a card too. You're getting some advantage off of it.
Yeah, I think the tempo you get off of bouncing a guy and drawing a card is like good enough to where it's like, all right, yeah, this is fine. You get to cast a game. It's fine. I'm above a card, and you have a sick creature.
Right, that's not bad. It all comes down to those are the kind of games where I want to be playing like turn 2 Adanto Vanguard into Crash into you. Like if I'm trying to play those kind of abilities or those kind of like gameplay, I'm trying to be aggressive, and the tempo is enough that it matters.
Yeah. Really, it's like it's a fairy curve of like, all right, turn 2 removal spell, turn 3 Teferi, plus it up or minus whichever. Turn 4 land plus Teferi go Wrath, and then turn 5 mana Teferi. It's like a pretty strong curve.
It's not bad. It's funny to think if they hadn't changed the Planeswalker rule. I don't know if this Teferi would see any play. Other than actually, it would be the opposite. Never mind. It would be
the Jace Beller.
You mean it'd be Call Blade again? Yeah, my bad. What I mean is, it'd be very awkward along the facts if you cast your turn 3/1, and now you can't really cast your turn 5/1 without losing. But it would be the point of it would seem more play along the facts that it would turn off your opponent from casting their turn 5/1. I've also seen this guy being interesting in sideboards. I like him a lot. He mills, he draws. He's also relevant in the control mirrors that have come down to decking a good percentage of the time. If they can't interact with that, you're just going to eventually win that game.
Right. figure out Prison Realm's place in the format. If that's
It's just an
playable.
Oblivion ring. Like, we're streaming right now.
But yeah, I think Prison Realm's interesting and potentially good. It's just like I'm not sure how it fits is the thing. Like I don't know if it's good, it's like the decks you wanted or like.
It comes down
The
to,
mono
is
white
it
deck.
better than Binding? Because those
It's tough to
cards.
say. It's like
Right.
like the extra mana worth, the silence ability on it.
Well, it comes down to, I've been so annoyed by Binding multiple times because the key to Binding is when your opponent casts it, the next turn you immediately draw an additional copy of it. That's just how the game works. So you immediately have a dead card because the game's just like, no, here you go. You wanted this, right? It's what you played it in your deck for a reason,
Playing for this card. You
right?
do.
Like, you wanted this Rekindling Phoenix here. Oh,
Hey, what about this?
yeah, I was about to show you that one too. I had one too. You mean the baddest chick?
Yeah, the
Uh,
mid-range queen.
Once I read her on the spoiler, I was instantly excited to play her. Because she does everything a mid-range player wants. She draws cards when your dudes die. She makes dudes that will draw cards when they die. She barter in bloods, which is like super powerful for that mana. She doesn't just win the game off her ult. That's like the only thing they could have made more powerful. She pseudo wins the game off her ult.
I feel like you're probably losing the game if you.
Yeah, but you know what? Like, it comes down to, say you're at 5 and they have a Pterodon, or when like it's a 5/5, and you alter when their removal spell, you're still dead the next turn. Like, it's not one of those like, let's just like Nicol Bolas that just wins the game. Like, oh, you couldn't deal with this, win the game. Or 3 mana Lily, which in 3 turns there were 30 zombies on the table and you were dead.
Sure.
Those situations were just way better. But to have the effect she has at the mana cost she has, they couldn't give her as busted of an ult because then it is just too good for
Right.
what it is. Well, we talked about this chick.
Narset potentially.
I think she's going to be a somewhat sleeper for a little bit. She's good. A lot of people won't really understand the interactions you'll have. When your opponent has that out and you cast like a 6/6 Krasis and you're just like, I'll draw 3, and then they look at you and go, no. And you're like, oh,
You can gain 3 life. now.
I'll draw 1. Like,
No, you'll draw none.
does it say outside of their draw step?
You can't draw more than 1 card a turn.
So yeah, you just gain 3 life.
You gain
That's
3 life.
pretty
and
awful,
Gain 3
actually.
life and you got a 6/6.
So key guys, that's gotta die. You gotta deal with that first. And that card has been seeing a good amount of play in some control lists and some of the rally lists.
Yeah. I like it against Nexus a lot.
Against them, it is really good. I agree. Seems pretty powerful.
Mostly just don't have room on my board for it, which is kind of a bummer. But that's fine. I think I can go without it. I think between the D-Sparks and the Dovin's Vetoes and Thought Eraserings and Duresses, I think I'm fine against them.
I keep forgetting I had that card in my Esper sideboard too.
It's so
I
good.
just like, right. It does. I think I at first I thought or didn't realize that it said permanent and not creature or planeswalker.
Oh no, dude.
So like it can kill wilderness reclamations.
Yeah.
It can kill like all kind like bindings. Like
The versatility on that card is huge, and it's
Right.
like the perfect cyborg card. Of just like, well, I know my opponent's gonna be boarding into this thing, or I need to kill this thing. So this card's very good and better than this other card.
and it's not in the formats like this. It's not difficult to cast. So it does get this. You get to play it when you draw it. You're not like trying to figure out how you're gonna cast it.
Right.
And it makes a token sometimes. Even better. That's my favorite thing when I've been testing the Esper Midrange deck. Is anytime that I have a hero out and they cast something and I get to Dovin's Veto it, I just feel amazing. Just like kill that, make a dude, and you're behind. Let's attack you now.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Tuben's Veto has been awesome.
Right. I think you're on 3. In my list, I was so excited about playing it that I was definitely on 4.
I mostly just like didn't want to get flooded on it because like a card I want to draw like maybe once, maybe twice.
See, I just think in the matchups that I want to board that card in, I want it in my hand the entire game.
It's just like most games that they're boarding in creatures and stuff like that.
Right.
So you don't want to get flooded on it and stuff like that. But then I'm also boarding in like duresses, I got thought erasures and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna give you my big embarrassment that I've had so far playing and testing. I think I might have already told you this.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man.
So I'm playing against Nexus. I have Lily out. I get to the point where I'm gonna ult Lily. Great position, way ahead. So I ult her, and I immediately realize when nothing happens what Tamiyo's static ability is, and learn my mistake very quickly, so I will never have to do this again. And promptly get the oops message from my opponent.
Oops.
It's like I was like, what do you mean oops? And I was like, oh, you win. We're done.
Yeah.
We're done.
Alright. You got one over there?
I got you. You're good. But that's how we all learn. You only learn from making mistakes, not from winning. So you take the good with the bad. The hope is that the mistakes you make don't cost you the game. Because we're all going to make them at different points.
For sure.
Even the best players in the world make mistakes. They won't admit to it, but they do.
Alright, my last pack was Vivian Arco. What do you got?
Kill you turn 3.
I mean, just put my guy into play.
No.
I'll block. Alright, this is all we got?
Yeah, that's all we got.
Alright. Alright, guys, that's all we got for today. Thanks for tuning in and watching. If you see anything that you saw that you want to buy and purchase, you can go to capeforgames.com, pre-order it. It'll be on sale on Friday. And once again, thanks for watching, guys.
Have a nice day.
Thank you for watching this Cape Fear Games video. Want to see more? Make sure to hit the subscribe button and bell to know the next time we post to YouTube. Join in on the fun on our live stream at twitch.tv/CapeFearGames. And check out our website, capefeargames.com, for all your gaming needs. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.